Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, Shri Suresh Prabhuji, Ambassador Gopinath Pillai, as much an ambassador of Singapore to India as he is of India and Singapore, Mr. Satpal Khattar, and ladies and gentlemen, it is really a great privilege and honor for us to welcome a very eloquent, erudite, thoughtful, and insightful Minister of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Suresh Prabhu, to Singapore. As all of you would have seen today, if you had opened the pages of Straits Times, that there's a story that India's growth in the last quarter was 7.2%, making India again the fastest growing major economy in the world. Now, over the last 4 years, three years, our growth rate was 7.3% per year. And in the previous fiscal year, because of the extraordinary sweeping reform measure of demonetization followed by GST, that the growth had actually slowed down a bit to about 6.2%. But as we can see, the disruption has bottomed out and the growth momentum has picked up again, reaching 7.2%. We will end the year at 6.7%. Not bad, but if you think of the kind of anxiety it's generated in India and the kind of attention it drew across the world, it speaks to the extraordinary hope and the promise of the Indian economy that nothing less than 7.5% per year is considered good enough today. And that truly is the testimony to the potential of India. But this growth has been broad-based and widespread. It's touched manufacturing, from where we have gone from being the ninth into the sixth largest manufacturing sector in the world. Services sector is clipping away at good momentum. Exports have picked up. Agricultural sector is doing well. And all this, when macroeconomic stability is actually increasing and improving by the day. Our fiscal deficit continues to be on a reducing trajectory. Our current account deficit is reducing, our inflation rate has been reducing, our exchange rate is stable, and our foreign exchange reserves is at a record high. It's growing actually every month. But the numbers can actually be fickle and whimsical. But what is more important is the transformations that are taking place in India. Transformations in the realm of governance, in center-state relations, in the realm of policies, laws, processes, and systems, in manufacturing, in infrastructure, in urbanization, in the digitalization and the digital revolution that is sweeping across the country, in skills and education, in agriculture sector, which has not received the level of attention and resources since the Green Revolution of 1960s. And above all, in the completely new paradigm of making growth an instrument of transforming the qualities of life of people in a time-bound fashion, with roof over everyone's head, education within the reach of all, healthcare within the reach of all, power, sanitation, water, all the basic needs of people is no longer a distant mirage, but something that is within a time-bound program. Ambitious, certainly, scale that is unprecedented, but the progress we've made over the past 3 years certainly gives us hope that we are on the right track and that we can achieve it within a time frame. And to interpret all this for you and to speak about India's growing global footprint, its integration with the global economy, and our vision for the world, we have with us Mr. Suresh Prabhu, a chartered accountant by education and training, an intellectual by instinct, a conservation and environmentalist by passion, and a political leader by profession. Since the beginning of this century, he's held a very wide range of portfolios in the Union Cabinet. He's been Minister for Industry, he's been Minister for Public Enterprises, for Environment and Forest, for Power, for Chemicals and Fertilizers, and you might actually ask him, how he looks at fertilizers and power and environment. He has been a chair of a committee for an integrated growth of power, coal, and renewables together. He's been chaired the committee that looked at interlinking of rivers in India. And since 2014, he was the railways minister. And in that process, he oversaw the development of a capital expenditure plan of $125 billion over the next 5 years. That includes $15 billion of modernization of railway stations. 400 railway stations have been earmarked for that. 23 were already put on the block within a few months of that announcement. Doubling the speed of construction of new railway tracks and electrification. Putting in force the high-speed rail project between Ahmedabad and Mumbai, and a host of other achievements topped by an extraordinary, unprecedented improvement in services for the railway consumers who run in 20s millions. And since September 2017, he is now spearheading our Ministry of Commerce and Industry, a key to our mission of providing employment and sustaining high rates of growth and for our global integration. And he is working not just to change the policies and processes, but also the mindsets, the way of thinking and the way of doing business in India. So to walk you through the extraordinary, breathtaking, wide range of reforms unprecedented in our history that is taking place in India, and what it means for India, and what it means for the world, and what it means for India and Singapore. Please welcome Mr. Suresh Prabhu.